Neal. I'm the special guest host, Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question, our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neal on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neal. I'm your host. I got my main man, Jerome, with
What's
me.
up, Daryl?
Man, another day in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Well, Jerome, we got to make sure that we give our good shout-outs today.
Always, Daryl.
But before we do that, if you got Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku TV, the SVP TV network app, you can watch live. And at some point, we'll put the number up. And if you got a question, regardless of what we're talking about, we'll answer your question.
Can't beat that, Daryl.
Man.
That's real time, huh?
Real time, and check this out. And it's free.
And you can call your friends and neighbors and loved ones and let them know you'll be on Tuesday night at 8:30
Yeah.
on Channel 17.
Yeah, talking about asking your questions.
That's exactly right.
So we got to give our shout outs though. Shout outs to California.
Okay.
Shout out to to Arkansas, Little Rock.
Okay.
Shout out to West Memphis, Arkansas. Shout out to Tennessee, Memphis. Shout out to Mississippi. Shout out to the great state of Missouri. Mom, family, wife, son, daughter. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the Paynes.
Right. Right.
Mr. and Miss Payne.
Right.
All right, y'all. So, Jerome, last week we were talking about bankruptcy, and we did not finish.
That's right.
Our topic.
Well, the subject is so vast, and the relief is so great until it's really hard to do in one show. So
It is.
So I appreciate you coming back to it. But that just goes to show you how much we value trying to educate the public.
Right.
And so if it takes 2 shows, then we'll do it.
Right.
If it takes your calls, we'll do it.
Right.
But Daryl, bankruptcy should never be your first choice.
Right. Right.
All right. And it also should never be your last choice.
Right.
Because many times people will wait too late, and by the time they finally get to us, the ship is just about gone under. Mm-hmm. And so when you see yourself being overwhelmed with debt obligations, don't wait too late. Seek some information. Right. And there, you say you hate Google.
I hate, man.
But
that's the only lawyer I hate.
But I hate friends who tell people don't file bankruptcy because you're not going to be able to get anything.
Right.
Well, you don't really need to get nothing anyway.
That's right. Hey, that's your problem. Yeah, that's your problem. You're trying to get everything.
You are a poor money manager.
Yeah.
And then one thing other people they do too there is they want to blame everybody else, but you got to look at Michael Jackson and say, what? It's the man or the woman in the mirror. And that's okay.
Oh, that's deep. You got a Michael Jackson reference, man. The man in the mirror. Here's the problem. I hear people say, if I file bankruptcy, I've heard that numerous cases.
1,000 times.
If I file bankruptcy, it's gonna mess my credit up. If you're to a point where you're even considering bankruptcy, your credit is already
there. If you got 2 or 3 judgments on your credit gets shot.
If you behind 2 payments, you've been evicted once,
it's shot.
Look, here's what bankruptcy will do for you. Again, and I'm never a big fan of 13s, and Jerome already knows why.
Right. Right.
But what bankruptcy will do is fresh start you. And my understanding and my experience, and when I was doing I did chapter 7s for a long time before the rules changed.
Before the rules changed, yeah. Okay.
And the one thing that I always loved about it, when I did a chapter 7 for somebody, within weeks, it seemed like their credit just cleaned up.
Well, it's absolutely, it's one amazing thing. And sometimes the legislators get some things right.
Right.
They got this one right.
Yeah,
Darryl.
I agree.
They got this one right because at one point, when a person was overloaded with debt, the only thing they could do was what? Jump out of the window. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think it's in the 40s or somewhere when the stock market crashed some, they had people just flying out of the windows.
No, that's 29.
Was it?
Yeah.
Flying out of the windows
Yeah,
because
they
they
hard
were
times and harder than times in 29.
overwhelmed with debt.
Yeah.
So so they came up with this rule that says, and in fact, it's in the Bible too, Darryl. It says that after 7 years, a person who has been in some problems, they could turn around and they would be relieved of their debt. And then in 50 years, you shown up with it. In fact, they gave back everything that was taken during that period of time. So relief is what we call it. Because from the moment that a bankruptcy of any type is filed, all collection activity, not because they want to, but what? It must cease.
No choice. No choice. I mean, and that's the thing that's really the good thing.
Absolutely.
Because here's the problem. You and I see it all the time. People are not going to do right. And if you give them a choice of whether or not to comply with the bankruptcy rules, they will not.
That's exactly right.
So when the court says the automatic stay
That's
or
right.
you must comply,
That's
if
right.
you don't, they are heavy-handed.
And the other thing too is that the reason why that's so fundamental is because had it not been for the automatic stay, there would be a mad rush to the courthouse. Everybody's trying their best to feed on
to get their hands in your little pocket, because the pocket the reach this down to nothing.
Oh my God, it just be nibbling on the people.
Yeah.
So the court said none of that, because when that stamp goes on it, and it used to be there, we had to go to the courthouse. You know, we go tracking out to 200 Jefferson, and they'll stamp. But no longer there. We got what's called electronic filing.
File that mug at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, whenever you're at.
The relief goes in from the moment that a case is filed, whether creditors know about it or not. So if a creditor were to reach out to the person who has filed a bankruptcy case, and when you say the word bankruptcy, that should end the conversation right then and there. And there, we've gotten even so sophisticated until I have a software that I use to file bankruptcy cases with. It will predict what your credit score will be within 12 months.
Oh,
of your
really?
Absolutely.
Oh, see, so I had EZ File.
Yes.
Is that the same software?
No, not anymore. That's kind of
antiquated. Tell how long ago it was I did it. Is that antiquated?
Oh yeah, that's dinosaur. Dinosaur. But that's okay, because everything just changes, and and they improved on it. Like today, man, you see the outage today with all of the equipment off. What's going to happen, man, if the computers go down on us?
let me tell you something, John. And I got a question here.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. And this is almost comical, and it's even more comical coming from a lawyer.
Yeah.
My first bankruptcy that I ever filed, I hand wrote it.
Oh my goodness. All of them pages.
All the pages. I hand wrote it. And the guy, so when I filed it, I didn't have the software.
Okay.
And when I first started doing bankruptcy, and it was 2003 maybe.
Okay.
In 2003, I didn't have no forms. I didn't have anything. So I didn't know what, so basically I got the forms.
Went online and got the forms.
Went online and got the forms.
I printed them out.
Put all the information in there, and walked down, because you used to walk down to 200 Jefferson.
That's right.
Walked down there and filed it. Place was full of people, boxes everywhere, people everywhere. Then they had little computers over there that you can actually do some stuff in there.
That's right.
But everything, it was just a voluminous amount of people.
That's right.
And the lady said to me, well, this is all going to change. We're going to go to electronic filing here real soon. I said, that's the worst thing in your life. She said, what? No, we'll have a lot of time to get some other stuff done. I said, no, they're going to get rid of y'all. And it was 20, 30 people in there.
Yeah.
If you go there now, it's what? Two people?
It may be four. It may be four.
Yeah.
Where they change in and out.
Yeah. So at least 16 people lost their jobs
That's true.
as a result of
That's true.
the electronic filing.
Or they got resurfaced, they got moved around some
Yeah.
maybe too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes they try to preserve people, but you're absolutely right. Electronic filing shot a lot of jobs.
Yeah, because we used to go in federal court because down in the federal court, you go to the second floor and you file it there.
In the clerk's office,
Clerk's
yeah.
office.
Yeah.
It used to have about 8 people in there.
You're absolutely right.
You go up there now, it's 2 or 3 people.
You're right.
So I mean, 5 people or 6 people, whatever, lost their jobs. You know, so just because you're a lawyer, or just because it's your first time doing something, don't mean that you have to have all this extra bells and whistles.
That's true.
You know, and again, was I embarrassed? No, I wasn't even embarrassed. You know what? I didn't even know what I was doing was wrong. You know, because what happened, the first bankruptcy I filed, I mean, I remember it like yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
First one I filed, I basically had just opened my office up.
Okay.
And I had already vowed that I'm not doing domestic, I'm not doing juvenile domestic matters, I'm not gonna do criminal matters. No family, no criminal. You know, I had already said I'm not gonna do that. But you know, I'm starting off brand new, so I still gotta figure out how to eat.
That's exactly right.
You know, and so somebody said to me, you know, guy wanna do a bankruptcy, will you do it? Sure. You know, I said, well, what's the growing rate? Charge him $750.
Okay.
Plus filing fees.
Okay.
You know, and once I got the money from him, I filled and prepared everything, you know, filed it. Once it got filed, we used the $750 to buy easy filing software.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
Good job.
So, but my point to that is, you know, at any point your money can be bad, or like we always say as black folk, your money can be funny at any point. But you know, bankruptcy is in place to help you fix your funny money.
No question, Darryl.
You know,
no question.
there's nothing wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong with filing bankruptcy. And you got to get past that stigma.
That's right.
I mean, a lot of people, you know, you see somebody up there and they be, man, the world's caving in on me, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
And Darryl, when you think about it, Darryl, it should have a impact on you. You should have some feelings of maybe I didn't do this or didn't do that. So have some remorse when you do it, because there in each of the offices where my practice is located, I have a box of tissues in there, and a lot of people, they just break down at that point because they thought that there was no help for me. I'm lost, I'm doomed, and the people are going to be looking at me funny, and look, and my creditor's not going to like me. The heck with your creditor.
They don't like you no more. Shoot, all they really wanted is your money, you know. But yeah, I mean,
right. They're going to be mad at me.
I would have loved to see the numbers when Trump first got elected as president. First time, you know, when he first got elected as president, he was proud of they try to make an issue out of the fact that you're supposed to be this billionaire and you have filed bankruptcy on your companies 2 or 3 different times. And Trump, I'm talking about, with the vigor of the world, man, that's my right to file. And he was proud of it.
Oh, sure.
I wonder how many people heard him talk about and how proud of what he was when he did that. How many people said, you know what? If the president or a billionaire can do it, I should be able to do it.
You know what, Darryl? That's a good point. I've never thought about that, but you're absolutely right, because he made it safe, he made it comfortable for people to relieve themselves of this awesome burden.
Right.
And so, you got a question?
Yeah, so here's the question, Jerome.
Okay.
So the question is, will filing Chapter 7 eliminate all debts?
No. It depends, because all debt, their debt is classified in at least 3 different ways there. It's called secured, unsecured, and priority. Now, secured debt is if you owe someone some money on a car, a vehicle, on a house, whatever it is, if you can trace the money that you got to an item, it's secured.
Okay.
And if you fail to pay, then they can come and take it away from you.
Okay.
Because that was the original agreement. As long as you keep my stuff, you keep paying me. If you stop paying me, I can come and get my stuff.
Okay.
And so that's secured. The next type is what we call an unsecured debt. Now that's credit card debt, hospital bills, repossessed cars. As long as you cannot trace the money to an item, it's going to be unsecured. The third type is what we call a priority creditor. Now that's money owed for the IRS, city and county property taxes, court costs and fines, student loans, or any other debt owed to a governmental entity. Now, whether you file a 7, 11, 12, 13, or 9, a lot of people say, I didn't know there was that many of them, but we cover the whole gamut of debt. They're entitled to be paid 100% of what they're owed, but the law allows lawyers to try and diminish that amount by looking at some things. Look at your car. How long have you had this car? What's the mileage on it? What is the NADA value? What's the Blue Book says it's worth? Or the furniture, is it torn up? Do you still have all the pieces to it? Did the children set fire to it? And if they did, then you want to diminish the value. But when we come up with that number, it gets paid full, 100%.
Okay.
Then priority.
But you don't have to get it. If the furniture's all tore up, you ain't got to give it back, though.
No, well, you don't have to give it back, but you ain't got to pay full value for it because it doesn't have that. And see, that's the beautiful thing about it, is you only have to pay what the value of it, current value is. Now, a priority creditor, they get paid 100% too because they're the government. But unsecured creditors, now I'm to the caller's question now. Unsecured creditors in a Chapter 7 will receive 0.
Woo!
They get no money at all because there is no money available for them.
Right.
But in a Chapter 13, they will get somewhere between 10 cents on the dollar, 20 cents on the dollar, 30 cents. We call those bankruptcy dollars.
Okay.
Bankruptcy dollars are not like...
Oh, them big dollars.
Not like U.S. dollars.
Man, that's good money there. In bankruptcy, that's good money.
So no, the answer is no. All debt will not be wiped out. It depends on what category it falls in.
Well, and I'm going to follow up on that question,
Okay.
John, because I think that, when they say debt being wiped out, because my understanding, at some point, you get a discharge.
That's right.
And I thought the discharge does wipe out debts.
You still owe the money, it's just not collectible.
Oh. So it's not collectible.
You just can't collect on it. The money, you still owe it.
And they can't, nobody can ever collect
And
it.
they can't come after you.
Ever.
No.
Okay.
Because
so,
it's been discharged. That's what discharge means, is that it's uncollectible, but you still owe it.
Oh, so I like that. So the debts are not eliminated.
No.
They're just
Not
packaged,
you just
packaged
can't
away
collect
somewhere else.
That's why you can't collect on it. Right.
Can you discharge IRS debt?
It depends.
Okay.
That's a wonderful question, because even with the IRS, that debt is also broken down into those categories too. Because remember I told you a secured debt has to be traced to something.
Right.
So if you ain't got nothing, then it's not secured.
Right.
All right?
Right.
And then now the priority part, it depends on what kind of debt it is. Did you have employees? Did you do what is it?
941.
940.
Yeah.
Now that's prison.
Right.
That's prison debt.
Yeah, it is.
Could possibly prison debt, 941 money. And the reason why, let's explain why. It's because it really wasn't your money.
It wasn't your money in the first place. Yeah.
That means you got the employees.
You took the employees' money.
That's right.
And what happens is, but people, they don't go to jail over this a lot. What ends up happening is they end up with a substantial tax consequence.
Okay.
What happens is 941 is you deduct the taxes on behalf of the employee. Then what you're supposed to do is either quarterly, monthly, or weekly, however it's set up. And I'm not specific because I don't do this.
Right.
My wife does all the money. So
right.
I think they've actually changed it to they do quarterly withdrawals, but I don't know the answer.
Okay.
But regardless of what it is, you better put that money in the bank account, and then when it's comes time due, they just pull it.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And the thing about it too is that the employer is supposed to add to that
Right.
money
You gotta add
because
to it.
there's
Yeah.
a portion that the employer
Right.
has too.
Right.
So that's not dischargeable. But also there too, property taxes is non-dischargeable too because it's a priority debt.
And you got something you can track to.
And it's a lien on the property.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Unless you have already lost the property in foreclosure.
it's double protected. If you lose it, then it's no longer yours. And while we're on that, Darren, people think that if that's another issue, I'll talk about that later on. People think that if I buy this car from the used car lot and I take it home with me and I determine that it's a lemon and take it back and leave it on the lot, I'm done with it.
Oh, no, you not. No, you not.
I took the car back, Mr. Payne. That's the worst thing that you can do.
Yeah,
Because
dog.
you don't have any bargaining power whatsoever at all now.
Woo-wee.
And they can collect on that vehicle for 10 years.
Yeah.
If you don't get all they want in 10 years, they can extend the
Extend it
judgment for another 10 years.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about it is that that's dischargeable.
It is dischargeable. and that's what you better do, because car loan debt is probably one of the largest debts that happen out there.
In fact, Daryl, that drives most of the bankruptcies filing in this community. It also drives the most poverty in this community. Is these car loans that these people get, and then the car creditors have absolutely no sympathy for the debtors at all. Because if I call you and say, hey, my alternator went out, I'm having to replace it. Can I miss this car?
Yeah. Hey, go ahead and miss it. Then we're going to repossess it, fix the alternator, and then charge you.
And then what? Then when I repossess it, I'm gonna sell it to somebody else.
Yeah. And then still come out there.
That's the craziest thing in the world. Now you sold the car that I used to own. I paid $10,000 for it. It wasn't worth $10,000, but anyway, that's another story. So $10,000 I paid for it, and then if I default on it, you come and repossess it. And then you turn around and sell it $10,000 to come the same car to somebody else for $10,000. But then you're still allowed to collect $10,000 from me?
No, you're not. Not $10,000.
Why not?
Yeah, you get a set off.
That's a contract. What?
No, you get a set off.
Yeah,
So
how much is the set off going to be?
it depends on what you sell the car for.
No, you're not going to sell it. The car lot is going to sell it.
I'm saying the rule is if the car lot sells the vehicle, they have to give you credit for what money
I've never seen it before.
Yeah, that's because they don't ever give you credit. That's what they don't do. What they do is they sell it at an auction for a cheaper, for whatever price.
That's right.
And then they come after you for the full amount. They're just trying to get something off of it right now, and then they come after you for the full amount. Or what's the balance?
But I sold it to your car lot, and you and I work together all the time. So.
And that's probably what's happening. They're
I've never seen them. You're absolutely right. And let me just say that. Let me say it like this. Mr. O'Neill is exactly right. You're only supposed to pay the deficiency balance.
Right.
And what that means is that whatever they sell it for, the $1,000 that they sold your $10,000 car for, you're only supposed to be responsible for $9,000. But the killing part, this is a wonderful topic.
Oh, hold on. I'm glad you said it. Let's stop for a minute.
All right.
Because you just gave them a defense, too.
Right.
So if the car is supposed to be worth $10,000,
Right.
you sold it for $1,000, there's an argument, and the law says you intentionally undervalue the car, and that means that you have a defense that the car wasn't worth X.
You are absolutely right. That's
and
a good point.
And that's a defense to that debt.
Good point.
So you can go down there and say, I have a defense.
But the problem with our people is that none of them hardly can afford to have representation.
Yeah.
And what I was about to say too is that so So if you default on the debt, bankruptcy is still there
Yeah,
waiting for you.
it is.
Once you get fed up,
Right.
then you'll come to me and do a bankruptcy case. But in the meantime, they send a letter to your employer. We talked about it last week too. What happens when you receive that garnishment notice? Employers, you had better be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah.
Because if a garnishment letter comes into your business place and you don't honor it, you now owe
You owe that money.
the $10,000.
You owe that money.
that the employee.
Yeah.
Look, and the employee see it come, they're gonna quit.
Yeah.
They're gonna walk away from it. But that's not the point I wanted to make. This point I want to make is that they can only garnish your pay for 6 months. Then they have to stop
And start over again.
and start over again.
Yeah.
A lot of people get this idea in their mind. Well, okay, I'm just gonna go on. I'm gonna go on and let them go ahead and go ahead and take it. And when the 6 months are up, they think that they're done. But after the period passes for them to reinstate it, they come back again. And now that's what gets people pissed off.
Oh yeah, and then now they show up in
Oh,
court.
you ready?
And Your Honor, I don't even know what this debt is.
I'm angry now.
Why you agree to it? But here's Jerome, and it adds on to this question.
Okay.
Does my income matter in whether I can file bankruptcy or not?
It certainly does. That's a very good point. And Mr. O'Neill, you've said it several times, is that at some point in your career you stopped doing bankruptcies, and it probably was in 2005.
It was in 2000,
because
yeah.
that's when the law
Yeah.
changed.
Right.
Because we had something called a serial bankruptcy filer. Every time it got hot, they would file a bankruptcy and get a discharge, and so Congress came up, Bill Clinton was president then.
Oh, so he put that in?
Well, he didn't have a choice because the Republicans were planning on doing something far worse.
Okay.
Then so he went on and let them do the 2005 changes. But what happened is that they started putting limits on how many times you could file a bankruptcy. And so if you can only get one discharge every 8 years now. There used to not be a limit on how many you could do, but you can only get one discharge every 8 years. And the amount of income that you make will determine whether you have to do a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13. And so the idea was to drive most people into Chapter 13s.
Well,
But in Memphis, we do a lot of Chapter 13s anyway, because the people are trying to save a car, trying to save an apartment, trying to keep their utilities on, trying to do all of these things that they shouldn't have to deal with there.
Well,
That should not be an issue
And
for a
it's
person.
funny Jerome says it, because here's what happened. So anybody, you probably, this is a new audience, and maybe or maybe not.
Okay.
But let me just tell you the reason why I don't like 13s. So when I was doing bankruptcy and when I stopped because, like Jerome said, the legislature pushed everybody towards Chapter 13.
That's right.
And they were making it extremely hard for you to get a Chapter 7. So you had to push you to the 13. My problem with 13s is people that are in bankruptcy make bad decisions. And then sometimes they will rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yes.
And what ends up happening is, if you're in bankruptcy and your money is funny and you're making wage payments, like bankruptcy, Chapter 13, you're making payment arrangements.
That's right.
If something changes in your financial scenario, you won't make that payment.
That's right. That's exactly
And you won't
right.
make that payment, and then they'll dismiss your bankruptcy.
That's right.
So now you don't put all this money and effort into the bankruptcy, and you've lost it, you lost your money, and you're still back at square one. Whereas Chapter 7, once you get to a certain point, it's discharged.
It's 180 days
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Yeah, it's discharged.
Right.
And then when now it's discharged, fresh start.
That's right.
Obviously, interest rates are going to be a lot higher for you because you are a previous person, but it gives you a chance to just take your time, and focus.
I like that. I like that, Daryl. I like that. But 13 is strategy. You strategize the use of a 13 because the 13 is so very useful in a number of ways. It just depends on where you are. You can get your driver's license back
Right.
with a 13.
Right. Now, if you file it, if you get your driver's license back with a 13 and you file it and you dismiss it or discharge it, do you lose your driver's license?
When you discharge
No,
it?
I'm sorry. It gets dismissed.
Oh, if it get dismissed, then of course, certainly they're going to be coming back after you.
They'll take your driver's license
Yeah,
again.
to get your
Oh,
license
wow.
back again. Yeah.
Oh, man, Jerome, time has gone fast.
When
man.
you're having fun, that's what happens.
Yeah, you know, Jerome, I know we were talking about it, and you know, we probably want to see if we can get as much reviews as possible. We look to try to have the bankruptcy trustee
An assistant bankruptcy trustee, not the trustee.
No, you're
Yeah,
right.
The assistant.
An assistant bankruptcy trustee.
Right.
We want to have Ms. Dominique Mayfield.
Oh, yeah.
Sometime, see if we can get her on next show.
Okay.
Or next Friday. So if you want to find out, what these trustees do when you file bankruptcy, she'll be here. You can call in and ask any questions, and man, you can't get it any better than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Thank you for watching the show. We'll see you back next week.
Can you actually imagine hosting your next event at the all-new SVP Banquet and Event Center? Yes,